which is a really fancy way of saying they're just making it up as they go along.
Yes.
They're like, well,
Could
on
be
average.
more.
Yeah, they're like, sometimes we don't charge people anything, but sometimes we charge them 15%. We don't know. Honestly, we don't know. Rock and roll, welcome back.
Welcome.
I want to say welcome back like this is some sort of like radio show where we just like went to commercial and came back. Welcome back to Undoubtedly
Welcome.
Yes.
Today we got Courtney Andersen, one of our rockstar agents, joining us. Woo, woo.
Hello.
Hello to you. This one might get heated though.
I'm always ready for a fight.
I don't even know if we're going to be fighting.
Look,
I think we're all going to be fighting against the
I am
establishment.
wearing black
Yes.
and white. I'm ready to referee this.
But they're going the wrong way. You look like a
I
jailbird,
know.
not a referee.
So true.
All right. Well, if any of this makes it in the video, we are talking. I don't know how we're going to title this. I want to talk about big news in the real estate industry recently. Zillow is becoming a brokerage. I don't know that changes things a whole lot, but what it did draw our attention to is Zillow has their Zillow Offers program. Redfin has got a discount brokerage type deal going on. Open Door is a company that's big in North Texas here.
Yep.
They're not nationwide yet, but since this is local stuff, they do an iBuyer program as well. I want to talk generally about, kind of using Zillow as kind of a basis. What are the pros and cons of using those types of companies? Why do we? I will tell you, I think there's a huge ethical
I know you do.
No idea exactly.
Well, and I do think it's like they are appealing to the buyer that doesn't want to do anything,
Sure.
and those are the homes that like they need a lot of work and they don't want to put the money into it.
There's
Now
100% a market for it.
I
Yes.
get that, but if you're just submitting an offer to every house that's available
Yep.
and it's like 30% below market value, then yeah, that's total BS.
Yeah.
I think the big thing to like start this off is if you're looking to sell a house. Okay, let's lump all these people in together. Zillow, Open Door, any program where a company is going to be buying your home from you.
Right,
Let's just call it what it is. It's corporate buying, right?
Yes.
Corporate buying. Okay, so what do you want as a seller whenever you're looking to sell your home? What are the things that are important to you?
Max dollars.
I want money,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Money and time. Those are the only two things that people are generally have any framework around when they're selling their house.
100%. Right?
Yes.
I want my home to be sold for the highest possible price in the shortest amount of time. And I always say the third thing is I want the least amount of headaches.
Of course.
But I would also say that's third.
It's third because I think there's a certain amount of headache you'd take for a certain dollar amount too, right?
100%.
Your threshold for the amount of stuff you're willing to deal with lowers every single time somebody negotiates against you.
That's right.
100%.
That's right.
Right? Okay, so I'm going to pull up some stuff here, and I can't pull the screen up, but I can just read right off of it. So tell me this, right? Let's do point counterpoint. You guys can talk on the side of Zillow here for a second, or the iBuyer corporate buying whole system here, and put yourselves in these shoes of somebody who might be in their demographic.
Right.
If I'm going to sell my house to a corporate buyer, what type of situation do I need to be in for that to make sense?
I think financially, you need to have like at least 50% of your home paid off.
Right.
Or, you've got to be able to accept the fact that it's going to be coming in at a way lower price than what it would be if you put it on market.
Sure.
I think most of the people who are going to benefit from an iBuyer type of program, right, where you don't have to have any showing. So for people who don't understand what an iBuyer is,
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
it's literally just an investor. It's a large pool of investors.
Yes.
Everybody, look, we have a program that if you're looking for somebody just to come in and buy your house, we've got it too. So we're not talking smack about
100%.
it. They legitimately make sense for the right type of buyer. But that buyer is probably in most situations in a distressed situation.
Yes.
Them personally, financially, or the house from just an overall
Yes.
quality standpoint, right? We walk into plenty of homes where there's two things happening. The home needs a level of money that the owner just does not possess, right?
Right.
And if we get that home under contract with a traditional buyer, that home is very likely not to sell. right? Because there's going to be lender requirements that the seller can't do. Maybe we could find a vendor who could take payment at closing, but you start getting a lot of moving parts, and it comes back to that headache Brian's talking about. The type of people that I see most interested in iBuyer programs. Now, I will say I've got a couple of stories that I may or may not share in this video about people who have went with iBuyers for reasons that are absurd.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think the people who truly benefit are people who need to move quickly.
Yes.
And they understand that you just are not getting fair market value for your home if there's an investor involved.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing, is the timing thing. Like, look, I'll just play devil's advocate here, right? If you need to get out of your home tomorrow, then
I got somebody to buy it.
Then the iBuyer program might work for you. I'll tell you, in that regard, Zillow offers, Open Door, whoever using it, they're all one and the same. It's money in your pocket at the end of the day. Where if we identify those three things, I want to sell for the most money, I want to sell in the shortest amount of time, and then I want the convenience. I want it to just be, I want as few headaches as possible. You're basically going with a corporate buyer just to satisfy your third priority.
Sure.
And I will tell you, this is one of the parts where bad real estate agents give the entire industry a bad name. When you work with a good real estate team that is a professional organization that does hundreds or thousands of transactions a year, I guarantee you, I would put cash on the table right now to tell you that we give you a more seamless experience than any iBuyer program out there in spades. And so really what you're doing is you're giving up money for convenience, when a solid professional will give you the same convenience and put more money in your pocket. And this is not hyperbole. I mean, this is real. I'm looking at the website, Zillow.com/offers right now. I'll just read it off, right? Zillow versus traditional sale. Zillow, 0 days on market. It says on their website, traditional sale, 76 days on market. I'm going to tell you right now.
Not accurate for DFW in
we try not
October of
to- Not right
2020.
now.
We don't curse in these videos, but I'll tell you that's BS, right? It is specific to your market, right? We have our average days on market in 2020 are far, far, far fewer than 76 days.
I mean, if you're going past like 2 weeks in this market right now, then you might be a little overpriced.
Especially in certain pockets, right? Like, and again,
Right.
this video can be watched at any point, so we don't hold some of the market stats we
Right.
throw out, because if you're watching this a year from now, that has assuredly changed. But we're in such a dynamic market in DFW too, that there are so many different neighborhoods and cities and why people move there, because public schools are so like all these different factors moving. I think people don't. We've talked about this on other videos. People who live here, and I think people moving here don't realize this is the 4th largest metropolis in the entire country. Right?
It's huge.
It's New York, LA, Chicago, and then DFW. So there are a lot of people here. There's a lot of moving parts. You can find stuff for $90,000. You can find stuff for, I don't know, what's the highest price thing? Tom Hicks sold his house for like $45 million or something like that.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Sold a whole
crazy.
city block essentially. Like, so here's the thing: is you can find any of that here, and I think when you're moving to Dallas, that's one of the really important things when you're looking for whoever's going to represent you. Is don't be consumed by the fact that they just work DFW. That's not really possible, right? Not for one individual person.
No, not at all. Not if you want to really get the most for your home and get the type of service, right? You need an expert. And to that vein, because I'm gonna scroll down here a little bit on this chart here. This is the biggest problem I have with this, right? Is, going down the comparison. It's, choose your close date, and then on the traditional sales side it says negotiate with buyer. That's just dumb. I'm just gonna call up this website and just talk about how dumb this is right now. 30-day close, general rule of thumb, right?
Yes.
The reality is, unless you're like some sort of vagabond who carries all their possessions in like a handkerchief that's tied to a stick, like, you need time to move regardless. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
A 30-day closing standard, and then it says selling cost. And here's what's interesting. The left side of this chart, again, go to Zillow.com/offers. I don't know how much trouble I'm going to get in this for saying that, but it's a public website. You all have the internet. Zillow.com/offers. Go look at selling costs under the transaction cost section. On the blue side, the Zillow side, it says 6%. On the traditional sales side, it says 6%. Someone explain that to me. Explain
worst
to me,
marketing ever.
Yes. Explain to me how Zillow is going to charge you the same amount of money as a real estate agent, when a real estate agent, for that 6%, they are going to invest their own money, their own time, their own energy, their own resources, their own
Right.
blood, sweat, and tears into marketing your home, representing you in the transaction as a legal fiduciary, protecting your best interests and getting you to closing safe, sound, and getting you the most for your home in a very short amount of time. And if they are a great agent or a great team around them, it's going to be a more seamless process. That 6% makes sense when you pay a professional because they have overhead that they now have to go and invest in the marketing of your home. If Zillow's the one making you the offer, where the heck is their overhead? What are we talking about here?
So it sounds like you're telling me, Brian, that Zillow already, and trust me, there are more lines to go on this. Zillow has already
certainly.
told you that they are going to offer you less money for your house.
Yes.
Because they have to sell it, right?
Right.
Right.
Zillow is not a person. This isn't an episode of Community
They're
where
not moving in.
Corpo Humanity and Subway is an actual person, right? Like, this is a legit problem. Now Zillow has told you they're going to pay you less for your house, and the fee is going to be the same. They have gone into zero explanation of why Zillow is not going to have someone represent you in your fiduciary side of the plate, but you are
Right.
still going to pay them the same amount of your equity in order to navigate the transaction.
Whatever, dude. We don't even know.
Because there's going to be some other stuff that I can assure you they're going to do later in the process that is going to be absolutely 100% combative to your side of the table.
Well, and I think when you talk to the reps that work for Zillow, they're going to sit there and just, sugarcoat the fact that, well, we're absorbing the cost of all of your repairs and we're absorbing the cost of how many days we have to keep this property on market. But it's like, oh, come on.
That's their problem.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, and that's, you know what, Courtney, you just hit on a great point. Let me tell you, YouTube land or wherever you're watching this, why Zillow is charging you 6% to buy your house. Here's the difference. A real estate agent is charging you 6% to provide a service in which you get a specific end result. Zillow's charging you 6% to buy your house from you.
Yep.
Right.
They've already, right? A real estate agent has overhead where they're going to achieve a result, and that result is going to be more money, right, in your pocket than what Zillow is going to offer you. Zillow is going to give you less money for your home, and they're going to charge you 6% to sell it to you. You know why? And this is the same thing with Open Door. Open Door advertises that they charge a 12% fee.
Yes.
So go check out their FAQ sections on the selling to Open Door thing. The reason they're charging you 6% is because if I buy your house, let's say your house is worth $250,000. If you hire a real estate agent, it's going to cost you 6%, but they're going to sell your home for $250,000.
Right.
With Zillow, they're going to buy your house for $235,000, right?
Well, and I think the other thing
Sure.
to think about is also the fact that you're protected by your agent. If you're a seller, you've got somebody that's representing you on that side of the
Certainly,
transaction.
Zillow doesn't have your best interest in mind. They don't care about you. You don't
Right.
work for Zillow. They care about them, right?
This
but
is a
then,
cash transaction to them.
exactly.
Yeah.
But then they're going to charge you 6% to buy your house from you. The reason is because they run on high volume, low margins, meaning that let's say a house is worth $250,000, but I buy it for $235,000, right? That is 92 or so percent of market value, okay? That might be enough for somebody to go, you know what? I'm getting enough for my house, and I'm just going to get it done. I'm going to go real fast, right? Well, Zillow might not be able to turn around and sell that house for $250,000. They might, but that's a slim margin, meaning like if the market shifts in a couple weeks, like let's say we have a global pandemic or something, right? All of a sudden, that house they bought for $235,000, it might only be worth $240,000, $245,000, right? And then if Zillow has salaries they have to pay and all that
Sure.
type of stuff, they need a built-in fee. That 6% is a fee that Zillow is charging to buy your house from you so that they can pay their employees and pay for their infrastructure and pay for all that stuff. The difference is when you pay a real estate agent that 6%, they're then taking that 6% and reimbursing themselves for the money that they spent out of pocket to market your home, right? To have
Exactly.
professional photography, to go and run advertising, to go and hire a team of professionals around them to support you. Like,
It's to pay the other
yes,
professionals.
and exactly, right?
Pay the
Zillow-
buyer's agent commission on the back end when they resell
Yes.
it.
Exactly. Zillow's charging you a fee to pay Zillow to operate a company where they just buy your house from you. They're charging you to sell your house to them. It makes zero sense
Which
whatsoever.
little behind the scenes view of how Zillow's always worked. Zillow's been doing this for years. They've just been
Exactly.
doing it to real estate agents.
Yes.
Because Zillow has made the majority of their profits over the years to get to this point. Because guess what they do? Now let's talk about the buy side consumer. We'll flip back to the seller real quick. Zillow for years has been charging agents to purchase zip codes in order to retrieve leads from them. So you, the consumer, go to Zillow and you put in your name and say, I want more information about 123 Main Street. You do not get the listing agent on that the majority of the time.
Almost never.
That gets round robined off to agents who have a lot of reviews on Zillow and pay Zillow a healthy amount of money that by some accounts has equaled up into the 80s of percents of their total profits as real estate agents paying. So now you, the buyer consumer, are not even getting... You're not even getting the listing agent, which that's a whole other video for us to do on why you would want to represent that.
That's a whole ethical thing. Right?
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But you're essentially getting an agent who may or may not even know about the area. Right?
Or
and
even know that they're tagged in this listing.
Well, or they may not call you back. And here's the flip side of that. You, the consumer... You the seller, if you're selling your house, whether it's with Zillow or me or whatever, Zillow has now ended around you on the back end because the people who are interested in your house don't talk to me. They talk to some agent who doesn't know jack about your house. Zillow's playing both sides against the middle for years.
I mean, I guess for, the buying agents, it's great for leads.
Sure.
But if you're the selling agent, I mean, where is the respect for the agent there? There is none.
There's not any.
This is your listing. You should be the first person contacted.
Absolutely.
So do you guys want to see that?
I want to get to the next part because it's not like this isn't even the end of the fees. We've already completely debased the entire process just based off the averages.
We made it down like a quarter of a page.
Yeah,
right.
All right, keep going.
Think that this would be enough, but here we go. Let's. I'm just gonna skip all the way to the bottom. So the only other two things are closing costs, 1% to 2%, and then on both sides is 1% to 2%. Yeah, when you sell a home, you might have title fees and things like that. That there's other things involved that don't get paid to any real estate agent or Zillow or anything. It's just title costs and stuff like that. Last thing on the chart, it is Zillow service charge. Now I'm gonna read you guys. No, I'll tell you the percentage first.
Yeah,
so Zillow service charge, and there's two components to this. Zillow service charge 2.5% on average, which is a really fancy way of saying they're just making it up as they go along. They're like, well,
Could
on
be
average,
more.
yeah, they're like sometimes we don't charge people anything, but sometimes we charge them 15%. We don't know, honestly, we don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know what it's going to be, right? And so I'm just going to read this from you. There's a couple of things on this chart that have a question mark that you can click next to it.
Like the Riddler?
Not a good sign of the fact. Exactly.
Exactly. It's a mystery, guys.
Yeah,
click on it.
Not a good sign from the jump that you have to have an explanation next to it. But the explanation that I say verbatim, our fee covers the cost of home ownership before resale, including taxes, maintenance, and utilities, as well as the potential risks associated with the sale. Charges varies for each property and can range from 1.5 to 7.9%. An adult wrote this.
An adult?
An adult.
So in our worst case scenario with Zillow, we're at 14% cost of sale.
They might charge you 14% to buy your home from you. And this explanation is bananas because they openly admit that they are charging you for their holding costs after they buy your home. They're going to buy your home from you, and then they're going to have holding costs, right? Zillow's a leveraged company like everything else. They're not going to buy your home in cash. They may have cash to do it, but they've got that cash from investors and things like that. So they have payments they need to make every single month. It's the same as paying a mortgage. So they're going to have holding costs. So they're charging you, once again, they're going to charge you 6% to sell your home to them. Then they're going to charge you maybe another 8% for their holding costs after you. Like, they're haunting you from the grave.
You're continuing to pay for the house. You are continuing to pay for a house you no longer own.
You're going to keep paying your own mortgage for as long as it takes for them to sell it, basically. And they're going to estimate that percentage based on how long it takes for them to sell it. So it goes back again to the top of the chart where it says 76 days. Well, guess what? Guess what nullifies that 76 days? You paying a service charge that is basically them having to take 76 days to sell it. You're paying for it regardless.
And does it? And here's the thing: is does that even
so heated?
Does that even bring up? Does that line even address the repairs they're going to ask you to do?
It says in here basically that repairs are negotiable, which again means they're going to come back.
They're going to come and ask you for stuff. First off, I will say right now, I have represented over 200 transactions easily at this point in my career, and very few of them have zero repair requests. It's just kind of expected, right? So like
it's
everybody's just playing the game. And if you don't think Zillow's going to come back and hammer you on that old air conditioner and all these other things that they're going to get hammered on in their inspection when they sell,
or they are. Guess what? Even if they don't, guess where they're going to get it?
from the
And their
14% you
service
just paid them.
charge. Yeah, right. They're like, well, you know.
And their built-in equity from their S price that they offered you at the very beginning.
Exactly.
You know?
They've got like 8 ways to attack you. Lower
Yeah.
price, service charge, repair negotiations.
It's all kind of BS.
It is.
I mean, it is.
And here's why we're ripping Zillow a little bit, right? Part of what led us to this is we realized when we were doing research about the brokerage part of it, Zillow gets 40% of real estate internet traffic, which is a massive,
It's a massive amount.
number,
It's a
right?
massive amount.
Great business model. Awesome. Good work, Zillow. This video is not going to take them down, right? Like, I'm aware of that. The reality is we realize that 4 out of every 10 people think Zillow is a voice in real estate. And here's what Zillow is not. They are not a real estate company, right? They are not. It is an internet service who gets the information that we provide them, right? You list your home with me. We put it on the MLS. Guess what Zillow does? They rip it off and go put it on their website.
Syndicate it from the
Exactly.
MLS.
Right? And then now people are, now there's nothing that can be done about that part of the system, right?
Sure.
That's a back end industry problem that has
there's-
gotten out of
there's
control.
really
It is
none
what it
that
is.
should be done about it
shouldn't
as long as Zillow is going to play fair.
And the consumer should understand who Zillow is playing for, and it is very rarely for you. Look, if you want to prove my point, go on Zillow right now and ask about a house. See if you don't get a call from either an agent and ask that agent detailed questions about the home. I bet you they can't answer
Just
it.
ask them if they're the listing agent.
Yes, and then 2, don't be surprised if Zillow calls you first and tries to redirect you to somebody else. Right?
Exactly.
If you want to find out who the listing agent is, you want to know a little tip, go to Google the address,
Search it.
you'll see my name, and then guess what happens? A good real estate agent has their phone number plastered everywhere. You know how you find Matt Kelderman in
reachable.
Dallas, Texas? You do a Google search of Matt Kelderman. You will find out more information about me than you would ever want to in your entire life. And you will also see all the business I've done and
Your
everything
email
else.
address is in the description to this video.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the other thing. If you're watching this video, scroll down right now.
Exactly.
Hit the little subscribe button on your way by. You know? Like it's just silly. And here's the thing is, I don't care about Zillow for my personal business. Zillow, I got into a debate with this another agent the other day. Zillow is a problem, but I'm going to continue to sell real estate no matter what Zillow is doing on the back end. My concern is I'm not even going to say deceptive practices because Zillow's upfront about everything. It's the uneducated aspect that Zillow keeps people in. Zillow presents themselves as somebody with the knowledge, and the reality is they're just not.
Well, and I would always tell a new buyer or a seller, I compare Zillow to the Facebook of real estate. It's a social media account.
That's a really good way to put it.
Social media account because what? You're getting to see profiles, aka houses.
Sure.
You get to see all these different contacts of people. It is all content related. And so
It's a really good point.
you know, it's the Facebook.
So you talk about the content part of it, right? Like here's the flip side of the content part. From the buyer perspective, Zillow has a vested interest because here's what I'll tell you Zillow's really great at. Zillow will syndicate my new listing within a couple hours.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's on there quick. You want to do a real quick research, go on Zillow, search in an area, screenshot every home, and send it to me. 214-298-0772. Personal cell phone number. Text it to me, right? Text me every screenshot. I can almost assure you 40% of those homes are already under contract and they're showing active on Zillow.
Oh.
You know why? Because Zillow makes their money from selling your information to real estate agents. Guess what real estate agents won't pay for? They won't pay for leads on your website if leads aren't coming in. So Zillow has a fiduciary interest in not updating the information as quickly as possible.
Well, and that's how their searches are. They
That's all it is.
automatically include your
It
pendings.
happens all the time.
And it's like if you are talking to a new client who has been searching on Zillow, talk about the disappointment in their voice when
Sure.
you're like, that house is
it actually
under
sold 3 weeks ago.
contract.
Yeah, it's
and
been
they're
under
like,
contract.
What?
And it always happens with people who are new because what a good real estate agent does when you roll in as a buyer into my world, I say, look, wherever you've been looking, that's fine. I'm going to set you up now. We're going to get on the same page. You're probably going to see some stuff that you've already seen because you've been looking for a while. And that's totally cool. But now we're going to jump off from this standpoint and understand that if it comes through on the system that I'm sending you from, it is available. Right? If you don't see it on the system that it's coming from for me, chances are, but you see it on Zillow, chances are it's just because it's not available anymore.
Because it's done, so.
Yeah, it's done.
Like to say.
Right? And I'll call the agent, and if it comes out of contract, we'll find it out.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's typically what it isn't what people think, right?
100%. Well, to wrap up, guys, I think that we've man, it's funny how when we
Punch
talk
Zillow in their
about,
face.
dude, we talk
We
about
get
the
heated.
subjects we
Things get crazy.
Yeah, well, we're passionate about it. This gets 0 to 60 real quick. I love it.
I just don't. Here's the thing is, right, at the end of the day, for me personally, and I think this whole team, we're at a point in our business and our career where selling houses is obviously important, but selling houses to everybody and for any reason is no longer important to me, right? The reason we do these videos, right, and spend an hour doing these a couple couple of times a week is because we legitimately care about consumers being informed about this kind of stuff. 100%. And real estate is just one of those things that even if you're lucky, you probably only do it 4 or 5 times in your life. So it's not something that you probably stay up to date on, all the trends. It may be a decade before you do this again. And that's fine. That's what we're here for. But it's also really important to understand in a world where anybody can say anything and put a headline on it and people believe it's true. Zillow and these other type of iBuyer programs are just I'm not gonna be super comfortable with people not understanding how they operate.
100%, man. We seek to educate. So I think the premise and bottom line here is before you sell to an iBuyer or any type of organization like that, think about what your goals are and talk to a professional first.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And if you want to hear my stories about insane people who've sold to iBuyers, drop a comment and I'll do a video on
There
that
you
too.
go, 100%. Thanks, cool. Thanks for hanging with us, guys. We will see you on the next one.